Hey guys, this is James from Scuffed Guild, aka also 6%, aka Name in Process. And I'm coming at you today with some fresh changes from 7.1.5. Now, there has been a lot of talk and a lot of questions thrown around in the Warrior Discord, especially in the Fury section. And I decided to make this little video, put it together, help answer some of those questions people have been having. So, obviously, the biggest one is what has changed. Well, we received a 5% buff to most of our damaging abilities, which in itself is very spicy. In addition, we had some talent changes. We had War Machine increased by 5 more seconds, so it lasts for 15 seconds. Fresh Meat was increased to 60% increased critical strike chance. We had Shockwave that was lowered by 1 second stun duration. We had Wrecking Ball increased by an additional 50%. We had Outburst, making it so the cooldown is also reduced by 15 seconds. We had Frothing Beserker, whose buff has been increased from 10% to 15%. Then we had Reckless Abandon, which makes Battlecry last 2 seconds longer and generate 100 rage, along with Dragon Roar being nerfed by 4%. So what seems to be the de facto new build is the one I'm showing you right now, which is Endless Rage, Double Time, Avatar, Bounding Stride, Frothing Beserker, Inner Rage, and Reckless Abandon. And how these really work together is they change what you're doing during your battle cry. They change how often battle cry is up, and then they also change how we want and how we gain our rage. So we'll go over it bit by bit. Endless Rage just makes our autos generate 30% additional rage. Double Time just gives us 2 charges. Avatar is a very strong DPS cooldown, allowing us just to increase the damage we're dealing for 20 seconds. Bounding Stride is fantastic for most encounters because it just reduces the cooldown on Heroic Leap by 15 seconds and gives us increased movement speed for 3. Now the big daddy here is Frothing Beserker, where now when you reach 100 rage, your damage is increased by 15% and your movement speed by 30% for 6 seconds. Basically, over the duration of fight, you'll have a very high uptime on this, like incredibly high. I was doing heroic farm last night and I had a 70% uptime on every single boss. Then we go to Inner Rage, which just increases the damage of our Raging Blow, lets us just have a stable rotation. And then Reckless Abandon, which now increases the duration of Battle Cry by 2 seconds and generates us 100 rage. And how this works is it also changes our opener. So no matter if you charge Heroic Leap or just walk up to the boss, now when you do your opener, you're going to go Battle Cry, Avatar, Rampage, Raging Blow, Odin's Fury, Bloodthirst, Raging Blow, Furious Slash, Bloodthirst. And what this does is it generates us the maximum amount of rage and also gives us the best chance to be enraged. And of course, this also helps quite a bit if you have the Angry Hat, which I currently have on. I also have the Manoros Bloodletting Manacles on, but that's more of just for the haste. So I can hit a certain haste cap at the moment. And throughout the fight, you'll be prioritizing capping to 100 rage and then rampaging, rather than getting to 85 rage, rampaging, and then continuing. This allows us to have a 15% damage increase over the duration of an entire fight, pretty much. It's crazy good. And so, I'll give you a look at my stats here. I have the best in slot helm. Then I also have a best in slot ring, Jeweled Kingdom Landris, 880 Chaos Talisman, running with an 865 Eye of Command, just because with this I like having the additional critical strike, just so that I can more reliably hit a critical on Bloodthirst, because that will give me 8 rage and also help with my in-rage uptime, which a lot of our damage comes through. So we are going to just show you a 3-minute duration of the fight using Frothing and Reckless Abandon. And this is just generally to show you how much damage they really pull off, while showing you a good example of the course of the fight, how your rotation goes, and how it handles. Just remember, with the talent choices, it does change depending on the duration of a fight. 3 minutes to 5 minutes, I would honestly go with Frothing Beserker and Reckless Abandoned over Carnage or Massacre with Dragon Roar or Reckless Abandon chosen, just because that's a preference for me. It provides a lot more stable damage, at least for me, and it's so much fun to play with. But once you hit like 7 minutes or higher, where you can reliably get to 20 stacks of like Juggernaut, you're going to want to go Massacre. We're just going to go in here. I went to Ironforge because it's one of the few locations with only a single Raiders training dummy without being surrounded so closely by other dummies. That way when we use Odin's Fury, we don't get extra DPS that we wouldn't have on a single target. So we're going to run through a 3-minute duration of just doing a rotation. Got our handy Blizzard provided stopwatch here. And let's begin. We have Battlecry coming up, but we were going to wait until we got to a certain amount, and then we're going to use it. Not only does this help with our generation, it also helps us smooth out damage a lot more. We have Avatar back up. We're waiting for our next Battlecry window to come in. See if we can get off one more battle cry. We just need a very lucky Odin's Champion proc here. There we are. Messed up a bit on there, but we will recover. So that's an example. As you can see, over 3 minutes, I dealt 76.25 million, which is relatively good for a 3-minute fight. Pulled 400k. Obviously, there was a few points where I messed up because I am still not super familiar with dealing with this rotation because I've only been playing with it for like a day. Um, as you can see, Raging Blow being one of the highest, along with our autos, and Rampage will now be our third highest. Uh, Mark of the Hidden Satyr being buffed is rather nice. Doing 2.5 million damage over 3 minutes is not that bad. I still haven't tested any of the other new neck enchants. Let's look at our buff up times. We had Frothing Beserker up for 72% of that fight, Enrage at 68.8%. Obviously, both of our trinkets are just going to be up for that entire time regardless, which 70% on either of these is relatively very strong. Honestly, if I had done a bit better, they would have been a bit higher. But yep, I hope that showed a bit on how to utilize Reckless Abandon and Frothing Beserker, and also a bit of how to handle the rotation. For all of you Fury Warriors out there, I highly suggest praying to get the Angry Hat. It makes it smooth out so much more. Like, when you go into Battle Cry and you do this, I gain 8 extra rage from just that. But honestly, without that 8 extra rage, you'll just be pressing Bloodthirst and going into a Rampage anyways. For me, I don't have to press that Bloodthirst, I can go straight into another Rampage because I have the Angry Hat. But yeah, on fights where you do get an execute phase and you're using Frothing Beserker and Reckless Abandon, I would highly suggest trying the ping pong method, which is kind of what I was doing. I didn't find a lot of success with it, honestly, but I could have just doing it wrong. Basically what that entails is you'll be at 100 rage, you'll execute, and then you'll just go back into 100 rage as soon as possible. Execute, repeat, and rinse. Maintain your stacks like that, and that's basically it. Honestly, when we get access to the 2-piece on Frothing Beserker, Reckless Abandon will probably pull much farther ahead of Massacre. Simply because I believe they changed it, the PTR. I believe it came here as well. Wrong one. Yeah, each use of Furious Slash grants an additional 15% increase to Bloodthirst critical strike chance. So instead of just 15%, then it'll be 30%. And when I'm running with trinkets such as these, where with Eye of Command being fully stacked up, I go to such a high critical chance rating that having like a 50+% chance to crit with Bloodthirst just increases your enrage uptime so much. Anyways, you guys have a great day now. Enjoy. I would highly suggest hitting 30% haste to fit in as many GCDs into the new battle cry as you can. I'm hitting 34. 32 is where I started feeling comfortable. Have a great day.